Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Saturday Morning Legion here on the Triple S League. We're just getting started here. Sorry. Brain is not brainolating quite as sharply as it should. Ash here with you with Saib. Moontag should be joining us within a little bit here. And, oh, Lord. Okay, I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to try to just pull it off, but I've only had like 3 to 4 hours of sleep. I had some bad insomnia last night, so we'll see how this goes. Anyway, if I'm like trailing off in the middle of sentences, you know why. You know why. How's it going? Atomic Stew, Sentinel Cheese, welcome. Time Bean, Niv Aussie, welcome. It is fire. It's lit fire, whatever that means. Can you have unlit fire? That's my question. Ponder away. Argue in chat. Saib, how you doing this morning?
Good. It's been summers are always brutal for us. They really are. Like summertime, it's we're working, pushing ourselves usually 12 to 15 hours a day. Thursday was I can barely do math right now. Thursday was, I believe, 17 hours
Good Lord,
for Moon, and it was about 15 hours for me.
Plus, you're getting gravely injured by your pets. First thing Saib says to me this morning is that he got stabbed by an angry cat. What happened?
I got stabbed.
How does that even happen?
the one cat, the biggest, heaviest cat, the one who's always angry, comes walking up on the back side of my leg because I'm sleeping, down, right, or however people say that, reference that. So my knee is on the bed, but it's upside down, right.
So you're on your foot, okay.
Yeah, and so the cat comes walking along my leg, and I kind of feel it, and I'm like, oh, kitty's coming to cuddle. That's nice. And then she steps on the soft underside of the back of my knee, and one of her nails goes through my skin and touches muscle for like no apparent reason other than she's just walking slowly. But she apparently gets stuck and now can't move, and I'm like in pain and trying to like move her off, which ends up causing more damage. So yeah, that was my wake up call this morning. It was great.
That's oh my goodness. It's not the kind of kitty you want to get woken up with. Sorry. I am shamed. Okay. So we're going to, first of all, we're going to take a look at this Black Myth Wukong. New gameplay trailer just came out. Going to do a live reaction. I have not seen this other than like a tiny, tiny little clip of it. And then in a little while, Saib's going to stream some Humankind, and we're going to talk about everything that has or hasn't happened at QuakeCon. And everything.
Moon is coming.
Moon will be here soon. Yeah, Moon will be here soon.
Behind. Yeah.
So we'll talk about everything interesting from QuakeCon. So that'll be a 30-second segment or so. And yeah, get the joke. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, Black Myth Wukong. Very interesting looking game that's coming out. I don't know if there's been a release date announced, but you are legit Liddy, says Time Bean. Yeah. So as Funky says, this game has some pretty good, like some deep cultural references because it's based off of some very deep Chinese folklore, right? I'm not getting that wrong. It's like it is a Chinese story, the Monkey King, the Wukong thing.
I think it's pre. It goes back a really long time. And I wouldn't call it specifically Chinese.
Okay.
Because it is something that Monkey King is essentially a story that's basically like almost entirety of Asia, because that's where the majority of monkeys are, including a good chunk in Africa. So again, the specific Wukong myth is, I mean, sure, it's probably a little bit more geared towards Chinese, but again, it's like it is something that is that's around a fair bit and has a pretty deep background mythos. It's kind of like talking about like the thunder god. So is that Thor? Is that Zeus? That kind of thing is somewhat central. Now there is a story which is the I believe it's the Journey to the West, and then there is some very very popular Japanese art that has encompassed the story.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very very deep. But like I said, the actual story of like the Monkey King goes back a very long time, and Monkey Kings are an actual real thing. Like there is always the king of the monkeys in various monkey groups, and
Yeah.
it's a pretty interesting position.
The alpha, the
The
king
alpha
monkey.
position. So in monkey stuff, so there's some really cool stuff. I'll just point out a couple of these things really quickly. One of the most interesting facets about monkey culture, and this goes from, I believe it goes from everything from apes down to the smaller monkeys and everything in between. So, everything from baboons to chimpanzees, especially chimpanzees, and a lot of the other type of primate monkeys. So one of the things that's really interesting to note is most of them have a leader, and that leader holds his position through a combination of violence and diplomacy. And it's not like wolf family, the alpha wolf or the matriarchal wolf is essentially the boss, but they're the boss because they're the parent of most of the other wolves. And they usually hold that position until they die. Whereas with monkeys, it's a constant game to maintain leadership position. And so monkeys, especially chimpanzees, will make deals with other chimpanzees to help them hold that position, because you might be the strongest monkey, but two other monkeys are stronger than you. So you have to hold your position by dealing and making trades with the other monkeys in the tribe. And you only maintain that position by doing that and trying to make as many people as happy as possible, because the minute the two of them are angry at you and they go after you and you don't have backup, you're dead. So it's a very interesting, like it's very interesting, references. And if you grow up, watching monkeys as thousands, thousands and thousands of generations have, recording and talking about stuff, it's a very interesting thing that happens. It's almost as interesting as like in human culture, it's almost as notable, watching wildlife and commenting on their social structures as it is like, a bunch of other things. Some of the rituals that have gone on for like 20-30,000 years that we know of, like the bear head placement in caves. That's one of the most fascinating the word that I can't say today because I'm too tired. That there's an old habit of like tribes placing a bear head in a cave, and the placement and way that it's placed and even the orientation is the same, and it's like the same throughout all of the known world, which is extremely bizarre. Like you can't, it's really hard to compensate for that, as far as like saying that humans don't have like long connected histories and stuff like that. So it's very fascinating. And yes, I've been getting into a lot of this because Humankind takes you from basically fighting mammoths all the way up to the modern day. So I've been immersing myself in a lot of
into space, right? To fight,
into space,
to fight the space mammoths.
Yeah, not space mammoths. There are no space mammoths. Space whales.
Oh, right. My mistake. My mistake. And you can study the space monkey cultures and see who their king is. But anyway, so Atomic Stew declares that he is the Monkey King. Well, if you've got the diplomacy and the strength to pull that off, you go right ahead. Official Monkey King of the Triple S Legion. Is that how it works?
Maybe.
Monkeys want to bang all the time. Apes want to bang things together. That's the difference.
One of the funniest things to do, I think, is to put out a giant mirror in like jungles and stuff, and just film the reaction of various creatures. Apes have one of the funniest things because they treat themselves as like as another for a long time, and then they like charge at the mirror, but then they always stop because it's a game of chicken, right?
Yeah.
And the reflection is playing the game of chicken exactly as they would, to the exact extent that they would, and they don't. And so it's really funny to see that.
It's like that guy's equally as determined as I am. What am I going to do about this?
Yeah. Well, the funniest thing is that elephants recognize themselves and their reflection, and can recognize, like, if you put paint on an elephant's forehead, they'll notice it, and they'll be like, "What WTF is this?" And they'll examine it and play with it.
I wonder that's really interesting. I wonder if it's because they spend a lot of time around watering holes and they can like see their reflections.
Possibly, like they have a higher vantage point.
Yes.
And so it makes sense. But even elephants that don't have access to calm water, where you do see your reflection, tends to have the ability to recognize themselves quite quickly. Dolphins recognize themselves quickly as well. That's another. That's like there's a difference between recognizing themselves, like cats and dogs. They get used to their reflection, then they ultimately stop caring about it. But elephants and dolphins will actively examine themselves and play with their reflection, which is not common in the animal world. Like aside from, I believe it's dolphins, elephants, and then of course humans, we're the only ones that do that, which really makes me say we should really be focusing on conserving both of those species, like hardcore. Like it should be an absolute like crime to like kill an elephant, or to like cull dolphin pods, because it's like they're such an advanced species that I think that's pretty cool.
Atomic says he's got visions of you putting random mirrors throughout the different jungles of the world now, and yes, that's true. That is the real. Wow.
Oh, sorry. I know. Sorry.
Wow. Okay. That's the. Oh man, that's true. I had a joke there, but anyway. Yeah, everyone. So. Chat just is off the rails this morning. Hey, Max, Darren, welcome. Space monkeys. Yeah. I mean, there's got to be space monkeys, right? If there's no space monkeys, what's the point of exploring space?
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I thought I muted that, but I didn't.
So, but yeah, that's the real reason Saib came to our planet, is to place mirrors in the jungles. That's his primary function. That's the primary function of his programming. All right, let's get to this Black Myth Wukong thing. There was something else I wanted to comment on.
The stuff coming out of QuakeCon.
Yeah. So we'll go through everything that's interesting. Like I said, that'll be a very, very, very short segment. There's another Skyrim. Yay!
Ladies and gentlemen, the ninth release of Skyrim. Put your hands together. Oh yes, the ninth version of it. It's been out for 10 years, and they have managed to release one version almost every year since then. Can we get to 20? Can we get to 20? Can we get to 20? Now that 9 is including the release on Amazon. On Amazon's Alexis.
Right.
So obviously I'm being a little facetious, but yeah. 9 versions.
Well,
8 versions.
When they released that was, I'm pretty sure that was a direct response to the meme and to the joke.
Oh yeah, no, it was a joke.
Yeah, it's a joke version, and they were really playing.
And you also don't have to buy it; it's free if you have an Alexis device.
Well, I don't know how complete it is. Skyrim. I mean, I don't. Can you go through the whole story?
No, you got a handful of like generic situations that you can like. Basically, it's kind of like a choose your own adventure book, and Alexis just kind of responds with generic things. So
Okay.
it's not serious. Nor is the fridge version, which again is something that you can do.
Well, there you go.
But
I mean,
again, it's
you can
like
probably port it. It's so old now. You can probably port it to anything you want. Anyway,
but the upgrade. Do we want to talk about this now while we wait for Moon, or
let I've had this loaded up for like 10 minutes. Let's do the
okay.
Let's do the Black Myth Wukong. Do you want me to stream this to you, or are you pretty familiar with it already?
No, I'm pretty.
All right, let's watch this then.
奇怪的梦里见过你们，你们因缘际会走到一起，怀着各不相同的目的。你欲成前人未竟之业，修功德圆满；你执着后世传颂之名，求位列仙班；你想跳出三界之外。 图个清净自在，还有你无所挂碍，吃顿饱饭便善哉。
Right up till the headless guy, I was like, this looks photorealistic.
我早就看穿了你们。
I know it's running on extremely high-end hardware.
一心的世俗名利，唱什么命不由天，
It's Unreal 5,
却不信自己才是天命之选。
That guy had his coffee.
可悲的取经人呐、只要心中还有放不下的偶像，终有一天，他将化为修行路上无解的业障。
I was like, one of those is going to come alive, right? Oh, that's you. Okay. Game Science. Their logo is a sperm, really? Was that intentional, or was that supposed to look like something else? I mean, that's kind of sciencey. The art direction. Yeah. Yeah, this is, I mean, this... Visually, it's just amazingly gorgeous. Does the game live up to it? That's the question. But I already... Oh, man, I love this already. And I love the... Oh, the stick dragging on the ground there, and it's actually kicking up snow. That's excellent. Like, those little details are... they make it feel a lot more real, right? I'm getting massive Sekiro vibes, but just very cinematic. I don't know what kind of hardware you're gonna need to run it to make it look this good. Bop the statue with an apple, it comes to life. That staff swinging effect is really cool as well. I love that snow effect, man. Wow, that looks so good. Mm-hmm. Hey, Lady Reaver. There's something terrifying about a monkey with a sword. For some reason
Monkey with a sword, man. A crab with a knife is way more scarier.
Agreed. Something about animals wielding weapons. There's just something unnerving. effect of the weapons when they're swishing through the air, too. That was dope. Lots of dodging for the combat.
Yeah, it's fairly like Dark Soulsy, Sekiro.
Is he? Yeah. Trying to see if he's got a. I haven't noticed yet if he's got any kind of a parrying mechanic. So far, it's mostly been dodging. Oh. Was he like being fake submissive there?
吃斋念佛，诵经打坐，又有几个真的心如止水、清静无味？你看看，这大风大雪的，还要
Yeah, I agree. This does look awesome. So the
一定也是为了那个玩意儿。
stamina management, yeah,
我
and
算过一卦，
there is a mana
你猜
bar.
猜写的是啥？
Yeah, don't kill me. I surrender. Psych.
只要送死也不拦你。
Sorry, but that dude's hilarious.
叫西天土地在此恭迎天命人。
No idea what he's saying. They forgot to subtitle that, or maybe they intentionally didn't subtitle it. They subtitled all the narration at the beginning. Time Bean, where are you going? What could you possibly have to do on a beautiful Saturday? Oh, that dragon. Dragon, though. How big is the studio that's making this?
It's, as far as I understand, it's still fairly small.
It's very impressive what a smaller studio can do these days.
Well, and this will come to my critique of like the game.
This game would be better if you could strangle fools with your tail. They haven't showcased much of the shape-shifting or anything yet. Looks like they're focusing on combat. Yeah, compared to, I agree, compared to Skyrim dragon fights, like this is pretty amazing. Oh, that is cool. So like just break all his ribs, yeah. It is dragon junk, which wasn't there. Yes, the animation's beautiful. I feel like the ice should be melting and cracking or something. Unless, no, it's an ice dragon, isn't it? So it's like refreezing.
Yeah. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's the ice dragon.
Well, the lightning is shooting. I was like, wouldn't that be melting the ice? But like, I guess it's an ice power.
Lightning doesn't melt ice.
Oh,
Different kind of kinetic energy. Different kind of energy.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry that the physics of this. Now that's kind of awesome. Sorry that I got the physics wrong on this mythical dragon fight side. my mistake. Oh, it does end with him falling in the water. Okay.
还记得盂兰会上，世尊说过，众生之苦，多因不守戒律，放情纵欲。要我说，放屁！
Ouch. Wow. Oh, it's not going to be an Epic exclusive, is it? Or no, that's it. It's Epic because it's Unreal Engine. That's why. If this game ends up being an Epic exclusive, I'll probably. That would be a tragedy if it was an Epic exclusive. Oh, I. All right. Well, I mean, a few things about that. I mean, first of all, when you're marketing a game, this is what you do. Look, there was not even a slight bit of developer commentary there. Now, developer commentary is not always bad, but I was noticing QuakeCon seems to be all these
It's a lot of commentary.
freeform live streams again, which they don't always do very well. And
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been able to catch much of it, but it doesn't look like there's been a ton of gameplay in what I've seen. This all gameplay, and you get a huge feel for what this game is all about. And
It's curated gameplay, and
Yeah.
I don't want to be too much of a wet blanket. I don't want to be too much of a negative Nancy, but there are a couple of things that make me feel that people shouldn't necessarily put as much faith in this title as we've put into other titles in the past. Now, a lot of that comes from having been betrayed by so many games recently, being promised the moon, and they can't even they can't even get 10,000 feet off the ground. Right? It's like there's a lot of that that's been going on. This comes on the heel. This trailer comes on the heels of Wild's announcement that it's completely shut down, that the game is not being worked on. Wild was this amazing game that was showcased a few years ago that felt a lot like this game. It really did. It looked a lot like this game. Fantastical, large creatures, this solo guy running through this immense world, doing this very similar combat. And that game hit the wall at Mach 2 and shattered into a million pieces, and we're never getting that one. Now, that was a PlayStation exclusive as well. But yeah, it's the don't get overly confident in these games, especially things that are promising the moon. Now, this isn't necessarily, I don't think this one's promising the moon, but I do see a lot of people talking about it. I see a lot of people talking about how amazing this open world's going to be. It's not from this trailer and the previous trailer, I do not believe that this is an open world at all. I believe it is an extremely linear journey quest, which actually fits the original source material. So that's fine. That's not a bad thing. That's fine.
What makes you think that? There's a lot of people
who, because the all of the paths are extremely linear. There's not an open path to go through these zones. It is a start here, end there. Pathing.
How can you tell just from the slice we've seen? Like just from the structure of the land, like especially in the snowy bit. There's no side pathways or alternate routes. There is a singular route that he's taking, and he goes from encounter to encounter to encounter, fighting in essentially a mini arena each time. The mini arena will either be big or small or whatever. So this is not an open world game. I can now say that with certainty. I would say we haven't seen enough to be certain about that. I
have seen enough to see that the game structure of the traversable ground is essentially a long path, and has some small rooms in between, but there is no. It appears very strongly that there's not even connecting pathways to branch off to go to. Maybe you choose to go left or the right, and then you end up going the circular way, but you still get back to the original thing. And that's not. I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
No, fair enough. But I mean, just from my experience,
I'm just stating that this is not an open world game.
From my experience playing Sekiro, though, like it was structured. It had many areas that were very much like that, but still open world in the sense that, you could go anywhere that you could basically go anywhere where you were able to, survive the enemies. Like it wasn't a like a Metroidvania in the sense that too much was cut off. It had some Metroidvania elements.
I am currently fairly confident that at least in this current build, you could not run away from a fight. So like once you enter an arena, the previous pathway that you took getting there is probably cut off, and you probably can't run back down the hill. I suspect that that's what it's going to be.
Probably not.
Again,
no, it's not like
I'm not
open
insulting
rim.
this.
No, fair enough.
I'm just stating so that people are getting their are understanding what they're looking at and understanding what they're hoping for. Right. Like again, I'm not saying that these are bad designs. These are completely normal game designs that have been common in the past, and I believe will or can function this way in the future going forward.
I agree that it's not it doesn't look like it's open world like Skyrim, where it's wide open and you can literally go in any direction. Like, I agree it's not like that, for sure. Anyway,
it's we've seen a lot of Code Vein, a couple of these other games that have come out recently. They're kind of Sekiro-ish. They have big open worlds and you can run around and run around and run around. I don't think we're seeing any of that. I think this is an extremely linear game that goes from one fight to the next fight, and your gameplay is going to be effectively identical to somebody else playing the game. You're going to fight the same let's say there's 2,500 fights in the game. You experience all those 2,500 fights in the exact same way that anybody else playing the game will.
I think that depends on what they have as far as character abilities and customization. He's got certain abilities. He's got some shape shifting abilities. He's got that thing where we saw the staff.
Oh no! The
longer.
fights will be your fight will be different in how you handle it, and what powers you use. But the fights themselves is a linear corridor of fights.
Well, I'm hoping there are at least some side paths and branching options like. Again, comparing it to Sekiro a lot, just because that it's got a very similar vibe. But there were optional areas you could go into where
I don't think we're
particular.
I don't think we're going to see any of that. And the other thing that I don't think we're going to see is we're not going to see any NPC interaction that ranges in the form of like an RPG, as far as like you're not going to run into a town and purchase a upgraded stuff like that. That's there's going to be, because I've seen some people talking about this, but it's completely speculation. And now looking at it again, I can say for sure that considering the his armor and his stuff, it's basically the exact same as it was previously. I think this is broken into chapters, and I think you fight on a linear path from going from one chapter to the next, and you don't have any like generalized, standardized NPC interaction. And again, I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just wanting to make it so people understand what kind of game this is, and I still think it's going to be good because it's very beautiful and it's very interactive as far as like the world mesh, but it's not but even that's not like you're not going to be able to like obviously you're not going to be able to like knock down trees or anything like that. I don't think that that's the kind of system, and again that's not a system that you need in every game. That's just I'm just stating the obvious. It's like
it's clearly not like it's clearly not supposed to be a deep RPG like
and we are going to be seeing a lot of these in Unreal 5 for at least the first little bit of its game release schedules. So, and why? Because this is actually relatively easy to make in Unreal. Making an RPG system, making NPCs that walk around and have do things. They have a life. They have interactability. They have a range of places that they can go. That is very difficult to make. This kind of a game where it's a very linear system, you have a single path with maybe you come to a larger arena or a larger area, and there's like 5 like little small side rooms that you can go into. I don't think that those mobs will be. I don't think the NPCs will go from room to room to room, like walking around. I think they'll probably be static. They'll probably not range. Like these are the mobs that we're kind of seeing, the small ones, not the boss fights, but the small little guys. I don't think that they have much of a range of movement other than their spawn location. And again, not necessarily a bad thing. We've obviously there's a lot of games that have done this to great success in the past. So I think it's completely normal, and this is just a game that's showcasing the beauty of Unreal 5, and that's in and of itself is a good thing, because again, this is Journey to the West is not a story that I don't think it really fits a story telling a deep RPG. I think it's literally just a journey thing where you throw on your gear and you go from point A to point B, and that's the journey, that's the story. And again, that's totally fine. Like that is what this story, what Wukong's Journey to the West actually envelops, right? And so it's being true to the lore, it's being true to the original story, and I think that's a perfectly good thing. In fact, I think that's a great thing. And again, we have some limitation with the Unreal 5 engine as far as like new tech and really expanding systems, because it's hard to implement those systems early on in the life cycle of a new engine. Those get progressively easier to add in, with more complexity later on down the road when, way more of those things have been flushed out in other games, and you basically can import a lot of those same features. so again, but it's just like I saw a lot of people talking about this, how they're expecting it to be an open world, deep RPG where you're running around villages and talking to people. None of that stuff is in this game. None of that stuff is, and and we don't want people to start like, you know, we don't want to have a repeat of Cyberpunk, because there was so much that was promised in that game, and then so much that was, expected in that game, and then so much that people were convinced was good to be in the game, that when none of that stuff was in the game, everybody got upset. So I want to make sure that everybody knows exactly what we're getting, which is not a bad game. I don't think this is a bad game. I think this is true to the lore, it's true to the story, it's true to the spirit of Journey to the West. So I think that's totally fun, and the combat really does look good. You can tell that the guy was really holding back in a lot of the fights. He wasn't attacking nonstop. He was just dodge, dodge, dodge. He's showing what the bosses can do while he's just dodging the mechanics, right? So he's showcasing. A lot of these fights could probably be ended very quickly just by being super aggressive. So, yeah,
maybe these types of games aren't typically built to be played like that, though. I mean, it's if you figure out the ideal, like, most efficient timing, perhaps you could just like bam, 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 kill the boss.
Well, there was a lot of times where in some of these fights where, especially the dragon one, where the dragon was right there, and the dude was just walking around or circling the boss. You could definitely go in for a hit or two. Now, I don't know if there's some more advanced systems as far as like, the bosses do more attacks when you get close in, or maybe when you attack, they counterattack faster, and they have less of a chance of counterattacking if you've dodged more of their attacks. So say, like, if you hit the character, if you hit the boss, they have an auto very hard hitting counter attack that they do, but they only do that if you haven't dodged 10 of their previous attacks or avoided 10 of their previous attacks or something like that.
These games with the stamina dodge parry system are usually they're about waiting for that opening. Like, if just going in and attacking all the time, he will do.
No, I'm not saying going in and attacking. I'm saying that there was lots of times where he was standing right in front of the boss, and he could have done an attack, and he didn't, because he was walking. He wasn't dodging. He was just walking around the boss.
Well, it's possible there probably were, some show,
and that's
there
why
probably
I'm
was
saying
some showcasing going on for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, obviously there's showcasing going on because it's a showcase trailer. So yes, that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying that just generally most players will tackle these bosses faster and quicker if they're good players than what was showcased here in this trailer. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I'm saying that the combat's going to be a lot faster and a lot smoother once you get your hands on it. You're not going to be spending the same, like, the dragon fight was fairly slow, like really slow. Like, there was a lot of times where, like, he was just literally just wasting a lot of time, like up against the tail there twice. He didn't attack at all, where, he could have done at least one attack, but instead he was just running against the tail. Like, that didn't make any sense to me. And that didn't make any sense to me from a combat perspective of, like, wanting to, like, actually do damage. That makes more sense to me as somebody who's trying to showcase the game in a clear way of showcasing the fights, and you're showing it for a trailer's sake. You're not showcasing how fast you can take down the boss. This isn't a speed run. This is a showing off the game trailer, which means that you're slower on the camera angles. You're not spinning the camera as much as you would when you're playing. And you know this because it's like when you're playing a game to showcase it is completely different than when you're playing the game to, like, speed run it. right? And those are two very, very different systems. And I'm just pointing out that those two systems are different here, and that if somebody's thinking, oh wow, this game looks a little slow, it's not. They're just doing that for the effect of the visual experience that they're showcasing here. They're not being slow because the game is naturally slow. I'm not like, that's the point I'm getting across.
Yeah,
Somebody
fair
might,
enough. I mean, I think anyone who's familiar with this game type, like it looks about the pace I would expect for this type of combat. But I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's what are people expecting from this game? Like, as Innate points out, so random gamers are assuming systems that we haven't been shown. I mean,
yeah, well, I
there's
mean,
always
that's always going to be a problem. But I'm just wanting to make sure that everybody understands that, not to expect something that it's not. You're getting a 4-course roast beef dinner here. You're not getting a buffet, and those are perfect. Those are two perfectly good food.
Well,
like ways to eat dinner. I'm just stating that.
No, I understand what you're trying to get across.
Yes, because again, we had so many people assume so much about previous games that have turned out to not be true at all, and that's the biggest thing. Is like, I want to avoid that, because that is very, very, very problematic going forward, essentially, and that's what I want to avoid. I think the game looks fine. In fact, I think it looks great, and I think that culturally, I think this is going to be a good game for China, because mainland China has done away with most of their historical mythology, and that's very sad. And I think it's good that I think cultural mythology is important for culture. Otherwise, you end up becoming very bland, and that's a problem. So I think this is I'm giving this like an 8 out of 10 so far. Of course, I don't encourage anybody to pre-order.
Of course not.
Pre-orders
Of course not.
are, please don't pre-order games. But again, I am referencing the biggest thing I want people to understand. This is not a open world RPG like Elden Ring.
Yeah.
A lot of people are comparing this to Elden Ring. These are two. The combat is a little similar, but the gameplay, like the actual game genres, are completely different.
I'm actually looking
completely different.
I'm looking
Elden
forward
Ring
more to this one than Elden Ring. Elden Ring looks really good too.
Mm-hmm.
But this, I don't know, something about it really appeals to me. I think I love that it's based in real folklore. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a good deep fictional world, but the real like the folklore of a real culture is I don't know, something really substantive about that, and all of the weird, strange creatures. I love games that have this kind of an ethos. Psycho Spartan Chick, are we speaking of Black Myth? It looks okay, but need to try the demo. Yeah, I mean, as with any game, with any game, I mean, the trailer showcases the best aspects of it. As with anything, until you're actually playing it, you can't have a full appreciation for what it's like. I still can't get over how good that snow looks, man. Like, I've never seen snow in a game look this good.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, Moon, how's it going?
I finally made it. Oh my gosh.
Like,
my computer did a weird thing where it turned off all the things, and so I had to do a hard restart.
Yeah. I think I agree. Like, I appreciate what you're saying, so maybe you're being a little overcautious. I mean, we can't manage.
No, I'm not being overcautious.
I guess we have to ask ourselves.
I suspect that this game will be very good.
What I mean is cautious about player expectations. Like, is it worth trying to? I don't know. I guess it. Yeah, you're gonna get people that think it's gonna be something that it's not. How heavily do we want to try and mitigate that, I guess, is
Well, because this is early on, and because I've seen the biggest thing that I've seen. I mentioned specifically the biggest comment that I have seen about this game has been that this is going to be like, stiff competition for Elden Ring. These are two completely different games in two completely different genres. This is not an open world story driven interactable RPG. There's no choices in the story that you're seeing here.
Yeah.
There's been no point in either of the two trailers for Wukong that shows Wukong having the ability to make choices or choose dialogue or open chests or receive loot. None of those systems are in here, which makes it not a RPG in that sense. It's a story-driven game, absolutely.
Sounds like a linear story.
But it is a linear story, exactly.
Yeah.
And it is and again, that's not bad. There's been a deficit of those types of games in the past, where I think there's a lot of good that you can have. There's a lot of game studios that should focus on making a game like this first before they make these, like, aim for these immensely massive undertakings that end up consuming them entirely. Just focus on making a good product. This is a great product that isn't going to have too much replayability in the sense of, like, experiencing story. I think once you play through it once, you're going to play through it once, and I think that's fine, because again, this is coming from a studio that's in China, where they've cracked down yet again on people's gaming time. They're making games that are designed to eat up, approximately 7 hours a week tops. They are not making games that are eating up 40 to 50 hours a week. And there's a lot of games that do that. But this game is aiming to not be that, because, again, that's part of the culture that's in China as far as gaming goes, and it's getting worse. The government just went for, or not the government, the various game companies, including Tencent, took the time that minors can play their games from 2 hours on a school day to 1 hour on a school day and 2 hours on the weekend, instead of what was previously double that. So these game companies are crunching time down. So that's why I don't think that's not the main reason. It's obviously one of the very small cultural reasons why I think this game is not meant to be replayed over and over and over again. You're not meant to put in 100, 200, 400, 500 hours into this game. I think you'll put in about 40 hours ish, depending on your skill level, and I think that's fine. That's what they're going for with this experience, and I think it's great, because, again, in the story of Journey to the West, it's not a journey where you are stopping to explore. It's a journey going from point A to point B, not necessarily as fast as you can, but you're not dilly-dallying along the way. Like, that's not what that journey is meant for. So
I think you're right.
That's my take on it.
I do think you're right. I don't know about all that. Like, it's a linear story game. That much is clear. And I also agree with your point about, a studio doesn't always need to make a big open world game. Like, that seems to be,
well, especially not a first time studio. And this is the mistake we've been seeing with a lot of Western game companies.
I even talked to I talked to kids who want to get into game development. They're like, "Oh, I've got this idea for a great open world game," and it's like, well,
don't start with an open world game.
To make a good open world that's a massive undertaking. Especially if that's your first project, there are massive studios full of veterans of the industry who can't get it right. And then again, you get some studios like Warhorse who do get it right, who are a smaller studio, and I'm not sure what the average level of experience is there, but they did get it right, in my opinion, with
Also,
Kingdom
thank
Come.
you for the super
Yeah.
chat, Psycho Spartan Chick.
Yes, thank you so much.
Good conversation. Yes, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
This is like you need to
and
have like the building blocks of making a game first before you can attempt something as complex as that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And again, I don't want people to come away thinking that I'm being overly skeptical on this game. I'm being overly skeptical on the giant promises that the AAA industry is making. That's what I'm the most skeptical on, and that's coming through probably a little bit here because that not because of our community. Our community doesn't really have too much thoughts on this game right now, but just perusing the internet as I do, looking for these stories, the biggest thing that I've seen, and it's not a single comment, it's hundreds and hundreds of comments talking about how this is going to be better than the Elden Ring because it's going to be more of an open world. And it's like, where are you getting this information from? Because that's not accurate.
No, it's definitely a vast world, at least visually, but there's gonna be lots of places that you can't go. Like, you look at what's this still on the screen right now. That area with the trees and the rocks there, you can't walk there. Like, you can, yeah, you are in kind of an arena right now, and there will be paths through the world. It's going to look beautiful, but you won't be able to like climb everything and do literally everything, like, or go literally anywhere, like in, say, Zelda Breath of the Wild, which I bring up because I've just recently been playing it again. And that, but I mean, that brings up another point. There's such thing as a world being too open.
Mm-hmm.
And I have this issue with Breath of the Wild. I love Zelda Breath of the Wild, as I love most Zelda games. Like it's really good in a lot of ways, but my biggest issue with it is there's so much openness that it takes a lot. You're spending half the game time that you're playing traveling. Now there's a lot to explore. There's a lot to do, but there's times when it's like, do I really want to spend 10 minutes trying to climb this cliff face to get to that shrine? Right. That's the issue I have with it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I really appreciate games that have fast travel options.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and it does. Like, once you get to a certain, every shrine, every significant landmark becomes a fast travel point. So that does help.
Yeah, and I mean, I like that in in these games that we've been seeing, like the Zeldas, the Genshin Impact. Again, that game's been doing amazingly well, and it is extraordinarily held back by the scummy and terrible gotcha mechanics of the world. But the story and the general gameplay is really good, and we're seeing this in more and more games. Like, more and more games are coming out with this fairly like similar open world system. So that's cool, and I'm excited to see what I think the next generation of this stuff is going to be, is going to come out with. So yeah, that's looking exciting, and then games like this, I think, reinforce that you don't have to have a major complex system to have the same kind of like general feeling. You can take out a lot of that needless running around because not everybody enjoys that. Some people really enjoy that. I like that. I especially like it when you climb up to the top of a place, and then the glider system. I really like the glider system. The glider system is great.
I do like the glider in.
You just like poof, the wings out, fly.
Yeah, the glider in Zelda is pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
I would be more okay if Link could climb up just a bit faster. And if it didn't start raining every time I needed to climb something, because then the rain, the weather, I had forgotten how much the weather and just the world dynamics affect what happens. Like, if there's a lightning storm and you've got your metal weapons out on your back, they start sparking and you can get struck by lightning and it's an instant kill. It surprised the heck out of me the first time that happened. And then if you're trying to climb something and it's raining, every now and then you'll just randomly slip down, which is so annoying. I mean, I like that. I do like that that dynamic. But
So climbing a mountain in a rain thunderstorm with metal weapons on your back,
not
wearing a
such a
full
good
set
idea.
full set of copper armor, screaming, "The gods are all fools!" is probably not
Probably not
necessarily a good
especially
thing
if you're
to
doing
do.
that last thing. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Innate says, I can't stand the open, empty world of Zelda Break of the Weapon. Yeah, and I mean, Breath of the Wild was such a different game from previous Zelda games, and some like it, some don't. I actually really like the most of what's in that game, and I've been having a blast playing it with my kids now, who are old enough to appreciate it, and they love doing the exploring and gathering things and cooking the. It's great because they'll play for a while. They love gathering the resources and exploring stuff, and they'll cook like tons of stuff for me. And then I go and do like the combat and the shrines and all that stuff, and I've got plenty of supplies that I didn't have to gather. So it's great. But yeah, the emptiness of it is probably my biggest issue. Like it feels. I just hope they improve on that system for the sequel. I think it was a really good start as far as. And definitely not a bad game. And obviously, it's a much loved game.
No, I think it's
but it's very. It does have a lot of walking around and a lot of climbing that you have to do.
Yeah.
Psycho,
all right,
Psycho Spartan
we...
Chick. Yeah, I just want to read this last comment here from Psycho Spartan Chick. Says folks like to blow things up just like they did with Cyberpunk, and what I'll give. I mean, I think we learned a lot from that incident with Cyberpunk. And if you're new to our channel, we covered it in depth. We were doing interviews with devs from CDPR. We were given their we were given the what's it called, the ARG. We were part of the ARG, and then it was a massive letdown. And so we've learned a lot. I think the gaming community as a whole has learned a lot. That even the so-called trustworthy developers can let you down.
Yeah, and that's what I want to avoid with this is I don't want people to be convinced of something that it's not, because again, it's not you guys here, it's the general chat that's been around the game for the last few months, and it's been and I mean, you just pop over to this YouTube video actually and just scroll down in the comments and you'll see a lot of that similar stuff going on. So, all right. Let's talk Humankind, because this has been so much fun. How's the volume in the game? You'll have to tell me because I can't hear it.
Well, I'm cranking it all the way up, and it's pretty quiet. Yeah, a little more. Maybe put it at about 30.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
So this game's pretty awesome. Like I said, you start in the early fighting mammoths, and then you go all the way to space. And
space mammoths.
The way that they've done this is quite interesting. Anyways, I'm going to show you guys the avatar system. You make your own avatar, and then you can play as that person throughout your history. And you have the ability to rotate and change. You change your gender. The amount of faces that you have are pretty big. Again, it's not a perfect system, but it does give you access to some pretty cool features. You can have a unibrow. The amount of eyes and face shapes are pretty extent. The noses are.
Can you give her a beard?
Hilarious. You can give her a beard, yes. You can do all kinds of stuff. Hairstyles, they got a ton of hairstyles in here. This is more character customization that you get in some MMOs, including a certain one that we are excited to play, but just a little shocked that it has so few character customization options in New World. But yeah, if you want to do beards and stuff, you can do beards and stuff. And this is what I say. Give me more options for, more representation of what I want to look like in a game. Yeah. If I want to look like a ridiculous clown, then give me that opportunity, because it's unique, it's good, it's
wow,
great.
That's a lot of Facial hair options. Whoa.
Yeah, so that's the overall like customization as far as your main character goes.
By the way, I'm just gonna
Now-
move. I'm putting the gameplay just full screen because it's weird to have my face on the screen while you're talking. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Okay,
go ahead.
so then we get into the world options here, right? So the world options, you have the ability to choose your competitors. You play single player, multiplayer. The world options: tiny, small, normal, large, huge. World shape, you get a ton of these options in here. So you have Pangea, large Pangea, a few continents, no ocean, 2 continents, 4 continents, random custom. The average shape, the climate, lots of options for the climate. Land percentage, you can actually set how much land you want,
So you could have
and
100%
then-
land if you wanted.
and then you can set the number of continents guaranteed, which is amazing. You can also have more of a random thing, 3 to 5 instead of like setting it exactly at 5 or 3. New world versus old world. So this is basically, this guarantees that one continent will be left by itself, will not have humans
It's
there.
uninhabited. It's like, yeah, okay.
Yes, and so it's once you get to the age where you can actually send your units across the ocean, then it becomes a mad dash for new land, right? So that's a cool concept. I really like that option being in here. Island odds, world, hemisphere, generation seed, continent spread, continent form, lake odds, lake sizes, rivers, ridges and cliffs, elevations. There are so many options in here for what is essentially like for basically what the world like gives you and what is entailed. So now we get into speed of the game: blitz, fast, normal, slow, endless, really long. 600 turns is piddly, absolutely piddly. Oh my goodness, that is like, I play on marathon rounds where my average turn length is like 1,200 turns. So this is very quick. This blitz, oh my goodness, 75 turns. I can't even imagine that. My current game, which I'm hitting like early medieval period, I'm 150 turns in. I can't imagine playing this on Blitz. Wow, it's crazy. Anyways, difficulty. Everything from Hamlet. All these difficulties, even this difficulty, has been ridiculously easy for me. I don't know. Like this, maybe Humankind will be the hardest one. We'll see. Then we've got pre-save maps, and then some add-on content that's available and that kind of stuff. So that's the overall stuff. Let's put it on. We'll keep it on slow. Yeah, we'll keep it on slow, and we'll just start a game. And I'll give you a quick showcase here. Random stuff. Nothing more. Nothing like super in depth. And then I'll load my older save game. So, but so far this is pretty cool, and I can show you guys some tricks and tips for this as well. So I just want to. Oh, yes, there we go. Just really need to turn this down for me a little bit more. I don't know. Did that change the volume of the game?
Well, I can't tell right now because it's on the loading screen, but I'll let you know in a sec. If you turn down, if you just turn down your system volume, it probably won't change it on the stream.
Yeah, it was blowing my eardrums out. The music's great, but it's like really loud.
Oh, it sounds about the same, I think. Maybe a little quieter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so. Funky. I think Atomic is referring to something that's happened in Saib's Civ games, where Gandhi likes to get a little nuke happy sometimes. We've talked about that before.
I love this intro.
Most of which are about rocks and ice at sub-zero temperatures in a vacuum.
Rather boring.
Yeah.
However, on a small damp rock, there is a story that bears a second look.
I think that's absolutely hilarious.
But first four
The narrator is really, really funny when it comes to he's got this dry wit slash like
and things start to
I don't know what the
Well, yeah, they're
what
going for the
term is.
nature show vibe here,
Mhm.
like the David Attenborough.
A certain subspecies of hominid discovers that you can do more with a sharp rock than annoy your little brother. Tools and weapons are invented. The hominids begin to cooperate. Fire becomes a servant rather than an unpredictable force of nature. They learn to tan the skins of animals.
It is a little quiet.
They learn ways to record and probably
Here, I'll turn this up for the stream a little bit.
eventually, these tribes learn to build shelters and immediately hold the first barbecue parties. This is the
Barbecue
dawn of
parties.
humankind. Struggle and cooperation have been rewarding. The Neolithic era draws to a close. The whole world beckons. This tribe has come far, but the rest of their story is your story. You are the one who will build them into a great civilization. How far will you push humankind?
Okay.
Here is where it begins. The future that you carve through force of will and a bit of luck, out of the raw stuff of planet Earth. Alliances and enemies.
Yeah, they're saying the game audio is kind of low.
You leave the greatest mark.
But if I crank it up on my end, it'll crank up your voice as well.
All right, so what I'll do is I'll bump the master volume to 60%. I'll drop my personal volume a fair bit, and
Yeah, that should work.
should be able to tweak the overall system volume. I'll drop the system volume down by like 50. Okay, there we go. So now, the one thing I love about games like this is when they have all kinds of terrain features. I love terrain features. Like, look at this volcanic earth over here, and then this clay over here, and then look, they've got black soil over here. I don't know why this stuff entertains me so much, but it really does. And then I like having like these rare resources and stuff like that. So
Simple
so, yeah,
minds,
that's-
simple pleasures. Is that how the saying goes?
No, don't even. So you just start exploring with your little band of people, and I like taking it slow because you really do get to explore a lot before you're pressured to settle. If we're playing on Blitz, you go one turn, you build your first city. Then in like 4 turns, you're into the next era. Then in 5 turns, you're into the next era. And it's just too fast.
So what constitutes a
this-
turn?
So when all your units are out of movement and you can't do anything.
And then you end turn, and then the AI goes, and then
Yeah, basically. So I'm just trying to figure out the best route here, because again, it is a bit of a race in that you only have a limited time to do a bunch of stuff, and that bunch of stuff is very dependent on you being able to compete in this world for resources and stuff.
Mhm.
So there's my first turn. So now I'm going to send them over here, and I'm not moving them, I'm not just dragging it off. So go this way, because when you get near things, you potentially can discover stuff that you didn't know was there beforehand, and if you do, you want to make sure that you can pick it up. So giving kind of some tips on how to be really good at the game here with this.
Mhm.
So
That's cool. I
right
like
now
how
we've had-
I like how the terrain just kind of rises out of the earth when you explore it. That's a cool effect.
So here what I'm going to do, I've got a sanctuary and I've got this discovery. discoveries
Even
from a
those who have
previous
disappeared
tribe.
may have done something very clever.
So we get a little bit of a point to that. This is building up my points. I got to get 7 stars before I can move out of the nomadic tribe from the Neolithic era into the next era. So that's what I'm doing here with this. So move in, capture that, turn around, come back onto here, and then we're gonna raid the sanctuary.
I like how
And we're
you're
gonna get food.
I like how your tribe is these dark-haired warriors, and then their leader is this blonde woman. It's something funny about that.
So we're gonna speed this up a little bit more here. We're gonna go exploring. So far, no animals, which is really weird. Normally, I'm surrounded in them. My other 2 previous games, like, just started out absolutely, like, surrounded by just tons of animal life.
Yeah.
And food and other options.
Bring on the mammoths.
So I'm gonna capture the food here.
I see where this is going.
All right, so now this features one of the funnest mechanics in this game, and that is these mini events that happen, and they cover everything from, like, hey, do you think we should be vegetarian or meat eaters, to, like, stuff like this. Your scout comes to you, he's breathless. He tells you that he spied another tribe not too far off. He leads you to there, and you drop down, you crawl ahead. A young woman, no more than 13 summers, is leading a ceremony. And it turns out their whole village all of their villages died except for the children. So you have 2 choices. You can welcome them and gain a unit, or you can withdraw, knowing that they're sick. When you withdraw, you get +2 movement speed for 7 rounds. Or you get a second unit, but it comes with triggering another event, meaning that you can have something come out of this that may not necessarily be good or bad, or might be really good or really bad. So we're going to do that because we need people.
Seems like
we're going to send them up to
the
here.
third option should be slaughter everybody. As horrible as that would be.
I'm pretty sure that's a terrible idea.
Well, that's okay. Yeah, but I mean that's what some of these ancient tribes would have done.
So here we've got more gemstone, we've got more porcelain. One of the cool things about the game, I don't know how many other people have figured this out, but if you can control multiple deposits of this stuff, you gain additional bonuses based off of that stack up in the later game. So you really want to corner the market on certain things. Like right now, I've got 3 of these gemstones. I need to settle this territory here, this middle territory here, and then this territory here, whatever this turns out to be. I really need to settle this stuff very, very quickly because it's giving me bonuses. Now, to settle stuff and to plant to claim the territory, you get any one of your units to basically, like, throw this down and be like, this is mine. And you can put it down and you get production and food based out of it. And then based where you put it, you get more or less. Rivers are great spots typically. You want to be near a body of water, but also you do get bonuses for having some of this other stuff nearby. So it's really comes down to a question of, like, well, what territories are good and really important versus, like, other ones that may not necessarily be that great. And then the more outposts and cities you have, the more expensive it gets to, like, claim them. So yeah, it's a little tricky. And we finally have enough food naturally to form another tribe. So now we get 2, and now these guys are going to go, and these guys are going to go claim. They're going to go this way. Oh, we got our first mammoth. Yes, we need to do a mammoth fight.
Mammoth fight. You gonna flank him?
And the mammoths go away at the end of the middle to end of the second era, basically. So you want to kind of have like, you kind of want to like throw something, some effort into hunting them down, because they are your most profitable source of influence and food. And that's really cool, because that's how it used to be in the days. Like, hunting down something big and killing something big is going to feed your whole village for a long time versus not. And I think that's just So you'll notice that some of these resources things, these little nodes have popped up while I've been out exploring, so they do kind of like refresh a little bit, and that's kind of cool, because then you kind of get to do some stuff. Chase that way. I'm going to chase this way. And the mammoth is probably down
He's
here
just
somewhere.
pieced the hell out.
So world of flame. So this one, again, another scenario here. So basically you see some smoke in the distance, and you see tribes people running away. So you get closer and you discover that they've actually built some buildings, and you can put out the fire and learn how to like build these buildings, kind of figure things out. Or that's if you extinguish it, and you get minus 25% on city defense research. So that's a permanent large boost in research technology. And then the other option is you can chase them and gain a new hunting party. So again, these really difficult decisions.
Yeah.
Like having another fighter at this stage of the game is really good. Now, we haven't had that much combat, which is weird, because normally I'm surrounded by it. But having another combat person is really good. But also, there's some researchers, especially playing on this speed, that take like 20 turns. And if you get that down by 5, that's a pretty substantial bonus. Now, that's not all technologies, even with like the city, but that is a few. So it's like, what do you do? What do you do? Normally I extinguish, but this time I'm going to give chase, because getting another body is probably a good idea. And okay, these guys are all out, so they turn. So this guy's going to hop over here, and then hop back over here, and burn this sucker. Now with this many people here, I can engage and combat with this mammoth. So elevation is always an advantage. It's always a good advantage to have. I'm going to prep this battlefield to avoid being in the low area, having this team basically be the more tempting target, because they have a reduced combat strength on rivers, but they have an increased defensive option in forests. And then these two guys have the high ground, so we're gonna set that up. So can't attack without moving down into the lowlands, but neither can he. So I'm gonna have these guys defend, and defend, and hope he comes up this way, which he did. So he's going up from a hill on a river. It's naturally slowed him down quite a bit. That's good. That's a really good thing. And now if we can move in there and kind of like finish him off. And then...
Ooh, he killed one of your dudes.
Oh, they're replaceable. Especially the dudes.
The dudes are...
You only need one dude in a tribe, man. So yeah, so 20 food and 20, which is almost as much influence as they got at this point. That's why mammoth hunting is the best way. And if you spawn in on a map and you get tons of mammoths, like farm that stuff for as long and as hard as you can. Like really go all out. You want that stuff badly, like really badly. And so, okay, so we have one gemstone here, one gemstone here, one gemstone here, and another gemstone up here. That's 4 bloody territories. That linking up 4 territories is really difficult and really expensive. I might have to break it up into 2 multiple cities. But really, the biggest thing that we're looking for is we're looking for a world wonder. If we get a world wonder, like my previous game, I got the beautiful. Somebody's already moving up their culture. Oh, that's not a good thing. That is definitely not a good thing. Oh dear. All right. Let's go over here. We'll do a quick fight with this deer. Deer are much easier to fight. Much easier to fight.
I would have met,
especially when you're holding the high ground. You just defend. The deer comes in. The buck, I should say.
The buck, yeah. Even though
and then
it seems odd that the deer would attack you instead of just running away.
Oh, well, buck will defend their territory.
Yeah.
So 2 rounds of defense, and then the last round we go on the assault. And we got supper, boys. Yum yum. Woo! So again, combat, very good way to get the bonuses. And this is really terrible. Normally it would like suggest some areas for building, but all of these areas are very poor. Very, very poor. You typically want as close or over 20 as you can get, and right now we ain't got any 20, let alone over 20. Oh Lord, it's so bad.
The game's like, yeah, I don't see anywhere good for you to build. It's like, well,
yeah,
you gave me the map.
It's literally like,
yeah, sorry, I screwed up.
It's literally like, yeah, you're not doing so hot here. Yeah, you might want to. Oh, and I missed some food because I went the 4. Oh, this
is better to go 1 tile at a time.
It's better to go 1 tile at a time, and then to also whenever you have 4 or more, to always break them up.
It'd be nice if there was an auto pause if something interesting.
Yeah, no, that would obviously be really, really good, but not something that we're having here. Oh, 1 more mammoth, okay. And I'm seeing this territory might be a little bit better. We've got some science bonus here because of the crater. We've got some black soil here. We've got a river. The other thing I'm looking for is mounted, like horses. Horses is probably the most important thing in the early game, and I've been seeing none of them. Ooh, saffron! Look, we can make saffron rice. Oh, lovely.
Delicious saffron.
Right. Okay. Go. And then, oh man, this is terrible starting locations. My God, this is absolutely horrendous starting locations.
Well, just makes it a challenge, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So okay, we've got another. Oh, this is excellent, and pretty. Yeah, this is pretty good. So we've got, we come across seeds, and she suggests planting half of them so the grasses may return next summer. It's a curious idea, at odds with the nomadic life, but perhaps a harbinger of the future. What do we do? So you can grind them up and eat them, or you can plant them, and you get research 25% permanent reduction on domestic research cost. Wow. Wow. So let's play the long game with that. And then very quickly, you can have an instantaneous resolution. You don't always have to do every manual battle. So if we go instantaneous, automatic victory. We lost a little bit of health, but didn't have to go through the combat. So you can play this fast, especially when you're playing Blitz and you're wanting to like really push it. That's not necessarily a bad thing. So okay, go up here. And wow, just really, this is probably one of the worst starting areas I've ever had. This is absolutely horrendous. This one, this is the one that I thought the other one was. This is great. This is a legacy trait. So you stand at a crossroad. For many moons, your tribe has trekked the wilderness, slowly and tortuously learning the secrets of the world, how materials hidden in deep places, and how in plain sight might be fashioned for the tribe's advantage. How the beasts and plants of the land and the seas most fruitfully harvested, and how myths and stories uh, can be or can I don't know how to say that. But yeah, so you get a choice of what permanent trait do you want for your people. So 1 science per population on a city or outpost, 1 food per population on a city or an outpost, and 1 industry per population on a city or an outpost. So you're basically deciding with this legacy trait that you don't get if you rush the game. If you rush the game and you just start building cities and you go into the next era as quickly as possible, you sometimes miss this. I've only gotten this when I've explored a lot and had a lot of events. I did not get this when I pushed for early city building. And this is a huge trait bonus. So, are you becoming industry, food related, or astronomy? Or are you going to use one of these things to make up for your weakness in other areas? For example, I almost never go a heavy farming route, so food is one of my most common issues. But by going farmers, I can guarantee that as long as my population is big, I will always have a secondary source of food income. So, yeah, interesting. So I'm going to go with the food this time because it's also, we're in a really barren place without much food. So this is probably a good idea.
Atomic Stew in the chat asks, I'm wondering if you would say this is a good Civ clone, or does it have the differences stand out on its own?
It definitely stands out on its own. It is definitely a unique game. It is Civ-like, but I would say it's Civ-light, not in the same way. It doesn't play in the exact same format that we've had other Civ games play in. So that's a big thing to remember, is that we haven't that there hasn't really been another choice to Civ games other than Civ, and we are now for the very first time getting something new. So it's not quite like Civ, but it definitely has replaced my Civ. For now, at the very least, for now, it has completely replaced my Civilization game. So it is something that is highly interesting to me. So all right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna break this person up, send them over to this tribe, and then this tribe is gonna start this combat. Manual. There we go. Now, reason why that other team wasn't here is because they were in a different tribe, a different group, and we don't have the ability to, start fighting immediately. So I actually made a terrible, terrible mistake in not arranging my people properly.
How dares?
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
And of course, he's coming from this direction. Oh no, that's not a good sign. Okay, so you guys go over here, you guys go over here, and you guys go over here. And we'll have these guys attack, and everyone else will defend. And he's gonna make his choice. Okay, yeah, he's going against the people hiding in the trees, which is exactly what we wanted. So we can pop. Yeah, there we go. Yay. More food. More stuff. All right, I'm just gonna pop this down here because it's like we don't really have any other choice, and this is about as good as I can get it right here.
So for combat,
So
It just pulls in all of your units that are nearby. Is that how it works?
No, it only pulls in this era. It only pulls in the people in your group. So if you have 3 groups standing next to each other, only one group is going to engage. As you advance military tactics, you can involve other groups, and then you involve more reinforcements, and then you involve more numbers as well. Like the peak group comp that I've seen so far is 7 units per group. And then when you're engaging multiple groups at a time, obviously you have you can have absolutely enormous battle. Siege, each of these territories represents basically like it's like a territory. You could combine them with other cities. So one of the smart things to do is grab this territory, this territory, this territory, and this territory. And then you have 4 small outposts that become one mega city. So your city now encompasses, like, you might encompass this massive area here. I don't know if you can see my mouse.
I can't see your mouse cursor, but I think
okay.
I think
so,
I can get.
So going up from this gemstone up here to this gemstone down here, and then the 2 other territories that are kind of like tied with that, getting all 4 of these territories and having one mega city right here is actually a pretty good move. It's terrible for the land choices that we have, but late game this could be a very powerful city. And mid game you could have 40 units show up to lay siege to this city, and the city's got massive armies on it. So again, it is built for the combat is so much more fun because there's so much more, especially in like in these mid to late games, and you don't have to go through all of it round by round. If you know that you're going to win a fight or 2, you just do instantaneous, and then you can still move the game. You're still moving the game really quickly, but that added ability to go really deep into the lore and planning, that's great stuff. So I finally completed my growth star. Jeez Louise.
Okay.
And I've almost got enough for a discovery. So if we do this, and then we do this, and we do.
So Moon, you do have your art stream going. So unfortunately, I can't put up more than one stream at a time. But I'm gonna switch over to Moon's stream just for a second here.
Oh, okay.
Because I know people enjoy the artwork stream. There's our lovely Moon tag with her cat behind her head. And what are you working on? What are you working on today?
This is characters from Sibe's book. The Power Couple.
The Power Couple.
Well, I think they're a power couple. I think they're so adorable. But yeah, it's Eve and Shira.
Nice. Yeah, Moon does a lot of artwork for us. Yeah, she's been working on it. We put up the high-res versions for our Patreon supporters. And, yeah, unfortunately, with the busyness of the day jobs over the summer, the art output suffers a bit. But you're working hard, so we really appreciate that.
Yes. But it's nice to de-stress to do some drawing that I like.
It's nice to just that's one of the great things about these Saturday morning streams that we've been doing. It's a lot more relaxing than the normal podcast, which we still do Tuesday nights. But anyway, yeah, so if you're watching live, please do slam that like button, and if you are watching after the fact, go ahead and slam that like button and leave comments below. And don't forget, you can check out the live streams on Saturday mornings. We do Saturday Morning Legion. We do other streams at various times. I am planning to continue Baldur's Gate 3 Evil Dumb this week.
Sparkle.
With Sparkles the Elf. The community assisted in creating that character, and they named him for me. So it was rather funny. Yeah, we had a good time with that. So, yeah, we'll be continuing that. I'm going to switch back over to Sybe now. Do you want to... We are about 20 minutes from our normal ending time. Do you want to show us... You're going to load up your later game?
We're going to show off just the choice of... Right here, we've got the choice of...
Okay, yeah.
So we've hit the era. We've gotten the points that we need to evolve into a nation. there's a lot of choices, and it's pretty in depth. So you have the Olmecs, the Nubians, the I can't remember how to say those. The Hittites, the Harpans, the Babylonians, Assyrians, Zhao, Phoenicians, and the Egyptians. And you can take these cultures and you become this culture, and you get bonuses for it. So the Egyptians have 3 things. Everybody's got 3. You've got a the unique trait that evolves your empire and is retained throughout your play. So these things stack up. So grand planners versus traders versus increased stability versus land and combat bonuses for units versus research bonuses versus food bonuses versus a bunch of other stuff. Then you get your unique district. You can only build these in the time that you're playing as this civilization, but they stay around. So they're like they can stick around for long periods of time, become crucial parts to your older cities. Newer cities, you're not going to be able to build pyramids unless you stay as the Egyptians all the way through the game, which you can do if you want. And then you have a combat unit that replaces an existing unit within the game. So Phoenicians, obviously, they get boats. Zhaos, they get a form of chariot. And these guys, of course, have a form of chariot. So yeah.
I see some of them have already been snagged by other players.
Yes, yeah. So normally, if you were to be surrounded by a lot of stuff, a lot of interactability stuff, which we were not this time, in my last game, I was the first to pick, and I got the first pick of everything. Here, a bunch of other civilizations have already snagged a good chunk of them, and there are only 3 left for the 3 remaining players in the game. So by taking... we'll grab the Egyptians because, walk like an Egyptian.
Well, yeah, and as Funky points out, it'll enable you to build the starship landing pods.
Yes, exactly, for the Goa'uld ships. So here, this is what the character looks like if I go with this culture. If I go with a different culture, really quick, I'll show you guys. If I go with a different culture, uniform changes.
Atomic says.
So that is so cool that they've added this feature into the game. So you adjust how you look. I hope that they eventually they give you the option of like staying with one in particular. But not only does your culture change, your general people change as well. So, and I just realized that my headset died.
Humankind learns quickly that everyone contributes. If you're terrified of wild animals, you can grow lentils or catch fish.
Yeah, Atomic says if one of the Egyptian traits isn't to walk like one, it's a no for me.
Begin the exchange of goods, services, and most important, rumors and hearsay.
Rumors and hearsay.
Enter this era as
Indeed.
the Egyptians
Okay.
then. No prizes for guessing how you plan to leave your mark.
So he's very snarky. The voice guy is very, very snarky.
It's very funny.
And-
yeah, it's very
Yeah.
some good humor, yeah.
It's entertaining.
So now
love
your
a good
units
narrator.
are no longer tribes of people. They cannot reproduce, and they don't pop out additional tribes when gathering food. All of that now comes down to your outposts and your cities, and what you can do to strengthen your hold on the territory.
No hanky panky while
look,
you're on the scouting missions, guys.
Here's a great location for my city. Oh, good lord!
You've already. Can you build another one there? Or you have to wait a while.
Yeah, no, I can. You can build as many outposts as you have influence to do so.
What's that Kraken thing up in the left?
Oh, well, that's where the monster is, obviously.
Ah, of course.
So-
Okay, yeah. Obviously.
Of course. The giant Kraken monster, obviously. So, yeah, the exploring becomes a little bit different. And, finally, a natural wonder. So, the Dankyle Deserts is classified as a stone field that gives you industry, intense heat, sulfur springs, smoking mountains greet the traveler who crosses this unforgiving landscape. 5 influence, 10 stability, and 10 money. So not a good early game wonder, great for late game, especially if you're going a money route. Having this and controlling this can make you become a powerhouse in the money department. So yeah, this is what really sold me on the game, is having these unique territory things and the wonders. They're done a little bit differently. I would prefer not to have these like tile land control areas, but I guess it kind of makes sense, right? It makes a little bit of sense at least. But yeah, that's the one part of the game that I'm not 100% sold on. But these natural wonders, in my other game, I was going to explain before. My other game, I have. We're just going to load that now. Hopefully, we'll be able to load it. Sleepy. Yeah, I literally named the save Sleepy because I was falling asleep while I was playing.
That was a late night game.
I have not had a lot of time. I have only had about 4 hours in this game since it came out, which isn't lots. Lots of falling asleep and playing while half sleepy. But in my original game, in my first game, this one, I found the Great Barrier Reef,
Nice.
and which was so nice to have early on. I really enjoyed it. But one of the things, and you know, it gives me the same kind of thing: influence, stability, money, and having that early on, right from the get-go, really helped me a lot. And so here's my empire. I'm the purple guys. Now this is my landmass.
You're like
empire.
surrounding the Mongols.
Yeah, the Mongols. They claimed this territory, and I almost went to war with them over it. But basically, I decided, I'm going to surround it, and I'm going to slowly cut them off from their stuff. So you can see where the city denotion lines are. This is actually like multiple territories here that I've combined into one massive city. And I have the Great Pyramids of Giza. I have the Jama Jasseri. I have here's my other wonders. I have Notre Dame. I've got Topeka Palace. I've got St. Basil's Cathedral.
You're just a mishmash.
I've got another one of them. Where is it? Oh yes, up here, this other city. I've got the Angkor Wat, and I've got. Thought I had another one. I think I'm planning to build another one. So I've really clamped down the wonders. The wonders are owned by me, owned by me, owned by me, owned by me, and then owned by me, and owned by me. I have built more wonders than most other people have. There's only been a few other civs that have managed to grab 2. Most everybody has only managed to grab 1. And so that's pretty brutal. Only 4 of them open up per age. So that's why I've kind of like geared myself this way, because I love the concept. My special units are giant elephants with archers on the back. I actually have unlocked
Oliphants.
I've actually unlocked.
Still only counts as one
special ability. And the narrator, he made a comment about this. It's like, did you choose this civilization because you like the trade, or did you choose them because it's the elephants with the cannons on them? And it's it's the elephants with the cannons on them. That's why I picked this tribe.
Sorry, an elephant with a cannon.
Right.
We were talking about animals bearing weapons earlier in the stream, and yes,
exactly.
I realize there's a human pilot on top with the cannon. But could you imagine an elephant just swinging a cannon around in his trunk and being?
Well, I think having a cannon mounted on his back
lucky,
is probably.
Well, yeah, I feel like it'd be hard to aim, and how would he fire it? Maybe with his tail? I don't know. But anyway,
elephants pretty smart. Just reach around back.
Yeah,
with their trunk.
Do you feel lucky, punk? Yeah.
So yeah, now this is how I am landmass ways. Well, let's check cultural growth. I'm pretty much
You're kinda
dominating the
dominating there,
cultural.
yeah.
Yes, it has to do with my wonders and the expanse. Soon these people will all fall to my my exorbitant wealth and society. I even have areas that I'm influenced in that I don't even discovered yet. So that's pretty cool. Unfortunately, my faith, religion, I've been a little bit dominated here, and that came at a cost of me dominating culturally. Unfortunately, these these other people have come in and done this, and well, that's just insulting. And I mean, I'm sure we'll come up with a solution for that eventually, probably having something to do with my many elephant warriors over here. Because
You got the elephants with the
them.
cannons. What are you worried about?
I got a lot of them. I got a lot of elephants, and these guys are all waiting to upgrade into knights. So I just need some more resources, and then all these scouts will be upgraded to knights, and then I will just go through and just dominate everything. So yeah, that's the overview of the game in the short time period that we have to go through this. It's really fun. You have so much life going on here. Like you got these little like caravans building the roads and moving goods from one place to another. You have trade routes. You have a bunch of other stuff, and it's all really cool. It's really fascinating how this works. And some of my places here just absolutely dominating.
Mm-hmm. He's on. This is 266 turns here.
Yeah, this is
down in
my 266th turn.
You see it down in the bottom right there.
Yeah, and I'm taking this to about 400. I'm actually going to restart, and I'm going to try 600 because I've still been annoyed at how slow, or at how fast the game is pushing me. I don't like that. I really want to like really take my times in each era. And
so with more turns, they allow you more turns per era, kind of thing.
Well, yes, but it's also things take more time. So, for example, on a normal run, on a blitz run, this would take a single turn. On a fast run, this would take a single turn. Now, this is actually a bad example because that's my main production city. Let's go with these guys. So these guys, four turns to build this from scratch. It's a farmer's quarter. It's not very big. I'm very production heavy. My production is quite high. Normally this would be about 8 to 10 turns to wait for that to be built, but because I'm such a powerhouse of industry, I'm blowing through that quite quickly. So in comparison, this city is ridiculous. Like this city 900, and if I turn this land raiser on, 50, almost 1500 building time. Everything basically I can build a single garrison in a single turn. Every turn I can pump out a garrison. Every turn I can pump out military units. I can pump out ships like crazy. I can complete these big challenges. These are repeatable things that you do. I can just murder this stuff. I can produce crazy amounts of food, crazy amounts of faith, and all that kind of stuff just by doing this. And I like being able to do that. And I like being able to like spread myself out and do a little bit more discovery. I'm just now finally getting to kind of like go searching out with my ships. So it's something that takes a fair bit of time, and I like taking more time. The more time I take, then the more interesting things and more interesting encounters I can have, and the more important the cultural decisions are. So in my first game, I started out as Neolithic, then we became Egyptian, then we became Murians, then we became the Franks, then we became the Mongols, or not Mongols, sorry, Mughals.
Mughals?
Yeah, the Mongols are different entirely. Yeah. And then moving up past this, I only have 2 more eras to go before I push into, before the end thing of the game, and it's like I want to find better ways. I honestly think Egyptian is the best for the starters, and it's just due to how much production they can pump out. It's the ability to build things quickly, and you get a bonus for stability.
Not going to comment about why the Egyptians were able to build things so quickly. Funky's wondering, how long was this game to get to this point, like IRL?
Oh, like I said, about 4 or 5 hours to get to.
And is that with
here.
like, were you like taking quite a bit of time with each turn?
I was yeah, I was, and I was also falling asleep a lot because, like I said, we've been working like 16 hours a day right now.
Yeah,
and I come back, I only have like an hour or two to play a day. So this has been very slow. It hasn't been super fast. I've also been learning a lot while I've been going on through this because we've never been able to expand at this rate and do all of the stuff and all of the things. And I did discover early on that if you really want to dominate, in these games, you need a really good start. Like you need a really, really good start. My start, I started down here in this territory. This was my first starting location. And as soon as I discovered that this had the natural wonder in it, I immediately moved my my first city is where's my first city? My first city is right here. My first city was built over top of a cave, and I got some special stories due to there being a cave. Ooh. So that was really cool. And they're like, we've heard monsters coming from this cave, and I'm like, well, send in the military. And the military goes in, and they're like, it's just a cave. There's nothing in here. And all of my people laughed at me because why do you send your military into this cave? Are you scared about a cave? I also could have planted a monster in the cave, by not a real monster, but like a fake one, like taking like bits of bones and creating a minotaur and claiming that the minotaur was real and that I have the power to keep the minotaur at bay, thus creating fear amongst my people. It's these kinds of things that really make this game great, because you can be a tyrannical nutbag of like, hey, some people have shown up at our gate. It's like, oh, great, more slaves. Oh yeah, I should show this really quick. So you have the technology tree, where you learn technologies and you can progress them, but you also have the civic tree, which is very different because you can design this and really design your population as you want to, which does include slaves. There's the choice for criminal slaves or war slaves, and then you can advance up through here in the later game based off of stuff. There's also religion aspects here. I could have gone literalism, compatibilism. This trait here allows me to become atheistic. This one here allows me to embrace being under foreign religion versus not. Open-minded versus religious hostility. And that's the kind of
and each one has choices, benefits and drawbacks, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and then again with those choices that come up within those stories, you gain additional bonuses off of that. So even if I have this and somebody's replicated all of my choices just due to the choices that they've made in the events, that can significantly change the outcome of how those things are enacted. So there's so much depth here, and there's so much interesting content that can happen.
Yeah,
and it really is quite cool. And then the big battles, are really fun.
Yeah, pick a fight with someone. Let's see something here.
All right, let's move down here, and then
I want to see these cannon elephants in action.
So here we go. Here's the assault. I chose a most terrible location for my assault because my assault is on a single tile, looks like. Oh no. Sorry, no. I'm good. I'm good. All right. So here's the late game siege. Manual battle. We're gonna set up here across the river. Now, if I want, I could send my reinforcements up from here and join the battle. But this guy, I know for a fact, this guy does not have actually any active military. He only has the city defensive defensive armies that show up whenever your city is attacked. So even if you don't have any units in the city, your city will pull units, peasants and stuff like that, and form militias and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. So we go in development, and now we've got a bunch of swordsmen in the form of peasants. They are pretty strong at this point in the game. Like they're pretty brutal. These guys are from 2 eras previous, but they're a very, very strong unit. So this is actually a good thing. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to...
If they're like completely outgunned by you, do they surrender?
No, but that's where you'd hit if they were completely outgunned, that's where you'd hit the instantaneous resolution. Because if they're instantly, it's just a waste of time. You're just going through the motions at this point.
Right.
With this, what I'm doing here is I'm softening up the targets that are most likely going to come out of the gate and start attacking. So there's my first round. And again, I've only brought a single army of 5 in. I could have brought in an extra, and I could have assaulted from the rear side with these forces as well, creating a pincer attack. So these guys have done the stupid thing, and they've run out of their city to try and attack my guys up a hill, standing on a river. It's a pretty dumb choice for them. So elephants murder.
Murder fence.
Right, murder fence. There is also the there's other things going on here too. There's this thing over here. This is their base. If I can capture this in the middle of combat, then I basically automatically win. So
does that like eliminate their territory, or does it just?
It just gives me their territory. All the peasant uprising, they will immediately be crushed, and I'll immediately capture the city.
Okay.
So you can play very, very strategically as well.
I mean, I would be,
which is really cool.
Yeah, they're
victory.
Being completely surrounded like that.
So now I've conquered the city, and I have a new city, but it is the city is occupied. So yeah.
Get them out.
So you rule it, but his units are still there?
No, I rule it completely.
Oh,
it's
okay.
just politically it's not mine yet. And
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha, yeah. That's really cool. Yeah. So lots of different aspects to this. It's not just go in there and kill everybody.
Yeah. So it's a really deep game. I'm looking forward to it. If people are interested in doing a very long game with me, once we have a little bit more time, because right now I might have some time today or tomorrow to do a game or two, but I really enjoy long games, and I enjoy like bumping up the difficulty and having like 1 or 2 people stand against a horde of AI. I don't like playing against players because I'm really brutal in how I play. Sword Sister could attest to how much I enjoy putting enemy players down when they get on my bad side. I'm like, oh, you thought you'd win, fool! I shall destroy everything. And they go, oh wow, you're really aggressive at this. Oh yeah, I can be. So I prefer, when playing with friends, I always prefer playing on the same team and just giving us a really, really difficult challenge when it comes to the AI, and really being able to pull together to defeat the AI.
Very cool.
But
yeah,
that's the extent of the game.
It's an excellent looking game. It looks like there's a lot to it, a lot of depth.
It's so fun.
Yeah, kind of a whimsical approach as well.
I really hope that they do and this is what I've been saying with Civilization for a long time. I have been dying to play a Civilization game with Civ, with the Civ features, with just fantasy races and fantasy empires and like long lore things and discovering buried titans on a planet and doing all of that kind of, I love that kind of stuff, but they don't have an option for it. Like there are games where you can play that, but it's not Civ. It's not a straight like 4X game like this. Like I really love going into my city and looking at how do I pull up the infrastructure, the existing infrastructure? I'm still learning a lot of this stuff too. So how do I do that? Like I like pulling up the list of seeing like exactly how much is in my city and how I've designed it and how I've curated it. It's very, very fun, and I enjoy that significantly.
Cool.
So yeah.
Yeah, well, it does look like an excellent game, and so
yeah,
there's
that's
the overview. That was very well done. Thank you. And we'll just jump back to Moon's artwork here, looking really good as we wrap up the show here, because we've been live for the 2 hours, which is what we usually do on the Saturday mornings. Cyber, are you gonna keep streaming on the Discord server, anything like that?
No, I'm gonna pop from here. I'm gonna pop over and I'm gonna do a long stream playing a long game of this. So hop in. Feel free to hop in and chat.
Okay. Well, if anyone wants to check that out, so Cyber will be streaming live on our Discord server in one of the audio rooms. So check that out. You can find the link to the server in the description below. You can find all the other stuff there as well, all the other Triple S League stuff. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit that like button if you haven't. And if you're watching after the fact, please do leave some comments down below and let us know what you thought. Looking good there, Moon.
Thank you. They're on a date.
Eve looks so cute. Oh my god, she's so adorable.
So adorable. And she's doing her floaty thing.
Yeah.
So adorable.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for Sid demands
Atomic stew. Atomic stew. Atomic stew. Sid Meier demands historical correctness. No mythical Civ.
Well, Sid Meier,
Yeah.
I mean, someone else might have to make that game.
It's my greatest request. If I could ever sit down with Sid, I'd be like, please, you don't have to have it integrated in the main game. It could be an entirely choosable thing, but give us the ability to play as fantasy races. I want the ability to play something different.
I bet you could design. You could probably design that game, Sab.
Right.
Design that game. Pitch it to, I don't know, somebody. Yeah. So Niv Ozzy says there was that Civ with fantasy and sci-fi elements in 2. You mean Civ 2? Like the game?
There are the occasional game that allows you to play out on Mars or on like another planet, with like alien life and stuff like that. That has been somewhat normal, but I want to play through like all the eras, not just the last era. So
okay,
that's my opinion, at least.
All right. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for hanging out with us this morning. It's been a pretty good. Sorry for the rough start with the tiredness. I hate. We do take these. We always want to put out a good product for you. We always want to put out a good stream. So I always hate it when I'm not at my peak mental sharpness. But last night, I was laying awake till after 3 a.m. It was very bad. It's not usually that bad. I've had trouble falling asleep my entire life, but that was just bad. It was weird. But anyway, stay tuned this week. Like I said, more Baldur's Gate 3 coming. We'll have our normal podcast on the podcast channel Tuesday nights. And lots more content. As always, we're doing tons of fun stuff around here. But join up on the Discord server if you haven't yet, if you're new to our content. Lots of great people there, lots of great people to talk to, game with. And like I said, Saib's going to stream more Humankind there right now. So join up if you want to hang out, chat with him, and see more gameplay. But for now, we'll bid you farewell on the live stream. So thanks so much for checking us out. We will talk to you again very soon.
Bye.
See you later.